The United States has dramatically ramped up its military operations in Somalia, and the numbers are staggering. Since President Donald Trump returned to office, the US has conducted 111 airstrikes against armed groups in the conflict-ridden East African nation. To put this in perspective, that's more strikes than the Bush, Obama, and Biden administrations combined. The escalation began in February with Trump's first strike of his second term. Just months later, a senior US Navy admiral claimed the military had carried out what he called the largest airstrike in the history of the world from an aircraft carrier. That's a dramatic shift from how previous administrations handled operations in Somalia. The most recent strike happened on December 14, about 50 kilometers northeast of Kismayo, targeting members of al-Shabaab, the Somali armed group that's been fighting the government since 2007. So, who's being targeted? Primarily, two groups. First, al-Shabaab, an al-Qaeda affiliate that controls large areas of south-central Somalia. And second, ISIS in Somalia, a smaller group with around 1,500 fighters concentrated in the northeast. This intensified campaign is happening because War Secretary Pete Hegseth reversed Biden-era restrictions that required White House approval for strikes outside war zones. Now, AFRICOM commanders have much greater authority to launch attacks on their own. More than half of these strikes have supported Somalia's autonomous Puntland region in its fight against ISIS Somalia. The remaining operations focus on al-Shabaab's advances in the south, where Somali government forces have faced serious setbacks this year. One massive operation in February saw 16 fighter jets launched from the USS Harry S. Truman, dropping 60 tons of munitions on cave complexes in the Golis Mountains. That strike alone killed 14 people. However, the intensified operations have raised significant concerns regarding civilian casualties. According to investigative reports, US airstrikes and Somali forces resulted in the death of at least 11 civilians, including 7 children, during a November operation. While the US military has confirmed conducting these strikes, officials have declined to address the reported civilian deaths. More troubling still, the military has recently discontinued the practice of providing civilian casualty assessments in its operational announcements. Somalia's war with armed groups killed over 7,000 people last year, making it Africa's third deadliest conflict. Adding to the controversy, Trump recently launched verbal attacks on Somali immigrants in Minnesota as federal authorities prepared a major immigration crackdown targeting hundreds of undocumented Somalis. His comments have been denounced from Mogadishu to Minneapolis. With the strike total potentially exceeding Trump's first-term record of 219 operations and civilian casualties mounting, this aggressive military strategy raises critical questions. Is this escalation effectively combating terrorism, or is it creating new cycles of violence? As the pace of operations shows no signs of slowing, the impact on Somalia's already devastated population remains the untold story of America's expanding shadow war in East Africa. With Shijita Sen Mojumdar, Bureau Report, India Today Global.